Hello guys, you're welcome to this channel. Here we have again, we want to talk about the specimens that are available for NECO 2025 biology practical. We're going to start with the specimen here, which is the housefly. If you are new here, click on the subscribe button, and if you are old here, thanks for coming back again. Endeavor to share our video, like and give a good comment. So now let's look at the first specimen, which is the housefly. I believe you are familiar with it. So the name of housefly is Musca domestica. They are common insects, and then they pose significant health risk, which is the main cause of cholera. That means they are vector for a particular bacteria called choleric. So now their life cycle starts with egg, and they grow into larva, the larvae of which you can call it maggot, and then they grow into pupa, and then pupa grows into adult. So look at the label. We have the compound eye, which means they could see all over their body, they could see all around their body. So every part of their body they could see you. Even when you want to kill them, they could see you coming. So now we have the antenna. So that antenna is actually for receiving vibration. They do not have ears to listen, so they use the antenna to get vibration. And then we have the tongue. That is the tongue they use to perch on food. Then the head and every other part of the labels are there, so you can explore the label from the diagram. So now let's discuss more about the feeding habits. Housefly feeds on decaying organic matter, garbage, and human or animal waste. So, and at the same time, when they feed on, especially when they perch on food, they regurgitate, which means they vomit their food to liquefy the one they actually want to eat. So, and this is a form of spreading of pathogens, which I've mentioned the other time, that leads to the formation of cholera. So they have a body structure that is kind of airy, you can see that too, so which can pick up pathogens. You get that? So, and then the varieties of disease that could be caused by them is typhoid fever, dysentery, we have cholera, and we have gastroenteritis. Then we have the salmonellosis, that is the infection by salmonella bacteria. Then they can also cause eye infection. That's for the housefly. So these are the little we can bring for you on housefly. So let's move to specimen B. Specimen B is spider. Specimen B is spider. So this is spider, and this is the label. You can see the upper part of the body is called the cephalothorax, which consists of leg to walk and jump. Then they have the scapulae, that is to add air to surface, to hold themselves to surfaces. Then we have the pedipalp, that is to hold down prey. You can see the pedipalp, they use that to hold their prey down so they can actually feed on it. Then we have the fang, that's to inject digestive fluid into prey. So actually the way they feed is when they capture the prey, they inject fluid into that prey, so the prey will begin to dissolve and they will suck the liquid, the fluid that the prey has become. Then that is how they feed. Then we have the eyes, definitely they use that to see. So we have the part called pedicel. That's the pedicel connects the cephalothorax to the abdomen. The cephalothorax to the abdomen, you can see that's the link between the cephalothorax and abdomen. So now that abdomen is the down part of it. You see the abdomen does not consist any leg, so there is a part called spinneret. So that is producing silk like structure. Then we have the anal tubercle. So that is the place where they pass out the excretion, just like they pass out waste products rather. So that is it for. Okay, we can still explore more about them, but apart from the physical features, they have behavioral features. So they are predator in nature. Then they have well web building ability. So you see you have cobwebs. They produce webs around. So and majorly they use that web for catching prey and for protection, and at the same time for reproduction. So the mating and reproduction, they have complex courtship rituals and egg laying behavior. They also have that. So we have some spider that are venomous. So many spider produce venom to, let's say, immobilize prey. You know, just like I've said, when they catch their prey, they introduce a fluid into the prey. So that is to immobilize the prey and before they start feeding on it. So they also produce silk, which helps them to create a web. You understand? So that is it. Then we have the next one, which is specimen C. That's the pride of Barbados flower. So that's the picture of the flower. So what are the characteristics of the flower? You have bright orange red flower. So you can see it is orange red. So the orange red looks somewhat like, it's not actually red, let's say orange red with that yellow trace at the edge. So that's with yellow center, they call that yellow center. They grow in cluster. Then they have leaves, they call it pinnate leaves with small leaflets. So I think the picture does not really show that perfectly. Then they grow like shrub. We have shrub trees and we have herbs. So they are shrubs, and they don't go more than, they grow up to 10 feet tall. Yes, that's their height. Then they are talking about other property. So they are ornamental plants. Pride of Barbados is widely cultivated for its vibrant flower and attractive foliage. So that is. Then medicinal use, they use some part of it for medicinal purpose. Then the ecological role is that it attracts uh, pollinators like butterfly and hummingbirds. Hummingbirds, yeah. So then maybe looking at the adaptive features to its environment, drought tolerance, it could tolerate droughts. Are you getting it now? Making it suitable for dry climate. Then it grows easily, so you can cultivate it. It grows easily. It's easier to uh, cultivate. So now that will take us to specimen D, and that is bean seed. Bean seed. So what would you tell about it? What would you say about the structure of bean seed? Bean seed is having a body layer. So let's say a seed coat, a protective layer, outer layer that surround the seed. So and that protective layer is kind of selective permeable. That is, it has a selective permeability property, which means it allows only water molecule to pass through it. So then when you soak beans in water, now you discover that uh, the beans will swell a bit due to the fact that you are placing it in hypotonic condition. Then the embryo, the immature plant within the seed, consisting of radicle, okay, consisting of radicle, then primary roots and plumule. We did not even see that in the picture here, but I'm just only saying all this so you could capture it in case they might ask you one of those things about it. So then it's a cotyledon plant, the seed leaves that produce nutrients to developing seed, cotyledons. So what are the germinating features of it? So it can be hypogill or epigill germination depending on the bean type. Even bean has different types. So if you look at it, so we have the endosperm. You see the inside is called the endosperm. That's the seed coat you are seeing in the label, and the radicle, and so on. So this is little we could give you on that. So let's move to specimen E, which is butterfly. So they are they are beautiful insects with significant biological and economic importance. Yeah, because they are one of the agents of pollination. So let's look at the life cycle. The life cycle of butterfly starts with egg. They grow into larva. So the larva of butterfly is what they call caterpillar. There we have the pupa, which you call the chrysalis, and they grow into adult from there. So they have wings. The wings are colorful with intricate patterns, so you can see them here. So if you look at the label well, you don't label like this in your exam. It has to be on one side, but for the sake of picture and learning, we can just accommodate this. So you can see the abdomen part too, then the hind wing and the forewing. The forewing has the one at the front, the hind wing at the back, smaller than the forewing, and they have the head and they have the antenna. So antenna, or you call it clubs on the end, they are actually used for signal capturing. You get that? So the end of the wings is the outer margin and the inner margin, as you're seeing. So and so on. That's that on the label. So then when you talk about pollination, some butterfly transfer pollen grains between flowers. Their migration, some species migrate long distance. That means they could travel long distance. So economic importance of butterfly, that's pollination. Then we have ecotourism. You might understand pollination, that butterfly helps in transferring of pollen grains from anther to stigma. So, and it's of agricultural benefit. Then we have the ecotourism. Butterfly garden and conservation attract tourists. So that is ecotourism. Then we have biological control. Some butterfly species help to control pest population, because when they feed on certain insects, which are actually pests to a plant, or to a flowering plant. So it's one of the way they reduce, or they add advantage to a farm or agriculture. Then cultural significance. Butterfly appears in art, literature, and symbolism. Yes, okay, that's another feature. So now let's quickly move straight to crayfish, which is specimen F. So what can we say about crayfish? Okay, you can't say much about it, but the little everyone can say is that they are edible. So now let's look at the feature. You see they have the cephalothorax parts, and they have the uropod and telson, and every other part of the liver, including the antenna. You see, antenna purposely in all these organisms is majorly for receiving signals, since they don't have ears to get messages, just like advanced organisms. So let's look at it. The body part of crayfish is hard on the outside, so which means it makes use of exoskeleton. Then it have claws used for defense. So it is an aquatic animal, so there is always trouble down there, so they make use of that claw to defend themselves, and for feeding purpose too, and actually for movement. Then they have segmented body. As you can see, I've told you the body have segments. The abdominal segments is there, the cephalothorax, and the part that contains the antenna too is there. So since they live in water, definitely they must have organ for breathing in water. So that's gill. They have gill. So like fishes too, like human being cannot live in water because we don't have gills, so they have gills. Then we have the behavioral feature. They are omnivorous, so which means they eat plant and animal.
and detritus. So those are what they eat. What else? What else? Okay, they are burrowing. Burrowing. So what does that mean? So they are species that dig burrows in substrate for shelter and protection. So they do that as well. So the reproduction and growth part of it is that mating and egg laying is what they are using for their own reproductive process. So female carry eggs under their abdomen until they hatch. So then molting is normal for them to shed off the exoskeleton and grow, then bring up a new one. You understand? Cockroach also do that. So like the hard parts of their body, which is exoskeleton, is non-living. So when they want to grow, they shed it off. After shedding it off, they grow up, they grow bigger, and then grow another form, another exoskeleton. So that is it. Then ecological role, they are food source, just like we know. Then what else? Ecosystem engineers, because the in their the activity of burrowing in the aquatic habitat is more or less like their building structures. So then let's move to the next one, which is specimen G, grasshopper. So grasshopper have several notable biological features and some economic importance. Looking at the body structure too, you can see they have a compound eye, they have the femur, the tibia, and so on, the spiracle, and so on. So now let's talk about that structure. Grasshopper has three parts of the body: the head, the thorax, and the abdomen, and powerful legs for jumping. So they will also have wings. Many species have wings because they could fly long or short distance. Then their diet is that they are herbivore, they only feed on plants. So that is why they are actually pests, because when they feed on certain plants, it is advantage to agricultural produce. Then life cycle starts with egg and they produce nymph, and from lymph they get to the adult stage. So economic importance is that they damage crop, and they are food source for birds and reptiles and other insects too. The food for human, in some culture I think they feed on grasshopper, but it sounds bizarre. So now we have the scientific research about grasshopper shows that they are particularly in field of ecology and entomology and biomechanics. So they have a kind of useful usage. Then that is all about specimen G. So let's move to specimen H, and that is humerus of a rabbit. The humerus is a long bone in the upper arm of the rabbit, connecting the shoulder to the elbow. It's connecting the shoulder of the rabbit to the elbow. So there are some features we need to talk about it. The bone is long. Are you getting it now? So and it typically consists of a shaft called diaphysis and two end called epiphysis. So then it has a proximal end. I don't know, that is in the picture. Yeah, it has a proximal end, a distal end. Then it has this muscle attachment because rabbit is also a mammal, so muscles are attached to the bones too. So then the functional features is purposely for movement and weight support. You understand? So that is it. Then the process of growth of this bone is called endochondral ossification. So that is it. You can check through the label and see more other features. So now specimen I, let's move to I. I is femur of rabbit. So the femur, or you call it thigh bone, is a vital part of the rabbit skeletal system. Then some key features you need to look at it is that the bone is also long. Then it has proximal end, distal end, then greater trochanter. Yes, look at it. The shaft, the long part is called the shaft. Then it's majorly also used for weight support movement. and all that. So you might be told to find the difference between the humerus and the femur. So you can look out to part of the labels that could be the differences. You understand? So then we have specimen J. Specimen J is orange fruit. A lot of our video have discussed about orange fruit, but that wouldn't stop us from saying something about it again. So just like the peel, which is the what's it called, the exocap, is part of it. So this is the cross-sectional view of it. So when you cut it, and we also have the longitudinal view. I think we did a video on that for YX students. Then they have seed, so orange can have seed. They call them pips. And then nutritional features is that it contains vitamin C, essential for nutrients or for immune function and skin health. It contains antioxidants, then contain fiber. Orange are good source of dietary fiber. Then biological features is reproduction. Orange tree reproduce through seed and vegetative propagation. That's the way they reproduce. Then their growth, orange grow on evergreen trees, and the name is citrus sinensis. I think you know that. So they grow in warm and subtropical climates. So that is for orange. Let's move to the next one. That is B. B. Honey bee, they call it Apis mellifera. APIS, then MELLIFERA. That's Apis mellifera. So then they are incredibly important insects. Indeed, they are important. Yeah, because they have significant economic importance. So the biological feature about bee, apart from the structure, look at, they have the head, they have the abdomen, and also the thorax. You see, there's three parts in which they are divided. They at the abdomen side, if you look at the end, you have the sting there. That is what they use to sting people or any other organism as a form of defense. You get that? So then another thing is their social structure. Honeybee live in colonies with a queen bee, worker bee, and drones. Those drones are males. The worker bees are female, and we have the queen bee. So the communication among them is vital because it's kind of a complex dance pattern and pheromones. Pheromones are like liquid or fragrance that is used for means of communication between insects. Take for instance, when you talk about some ants, when ants is leaving the it's a particular location, as it's going, it spread a fluid called pheromone. So this pheromone will be a kind of pathway. By the time it's coming back to the initial location, it will only trace that fragrance and get back to, because they could not identify ways or road just like us. You understand? So they use the pheromones, and this pheromone can also be used for communication among them too. Then we have pollinations. Honeybees are crucial pollinators of many plant species. Then another important thing that we all know them for is production of honey. Bee collects nectar and convert it into honey through regurgitation and evaporation. So that's the process. Then apart from the economic importance in general, they have is the pollination service, honey production, the beeswax production, and that's it. So now we move to the next specimen, which is the land snail. Land snail have several notable biological features and economic benefits. So like the features include the shell. They have shell, which is a protective part of them. They call it calcareous shell that provide defense and support. So they have the foot. The foot is a muscular foot used for locomotion and feeding. So then we have the radula. Yes, the radula is a part of the label. So is used for feeding. Are you getting it now? So they are hermaphrodites. That is one ability they have, hermaphroditism. They are hermaphrodites, which means they have the male and female, both male and female reproductive organ. They have it in one. So that's hermaphroditism. So they are hermaphrodites. The economic importance is that they are food source. They have nutrient value. Snails are good source of protein, and they are low in fat rather. Then economic value is that snail farming is a profitable business. Yeah, as a uh, agricultural business. So let's move to specimen M, which is guava. So sorry we could not get a label for this, but let's look at the feature, the fruit structure. Guava has a thick skin called the exocarp and a juice pulp, mesocarp, and the seed. You can see the seed right there. So the juice pulp is the, let's say, these red parts. The skin outside is the exocarp. Then the color can be green, yellow, or red. So but this one is actually red, yeah. So depending on the varieties and the ripeness. So shape, guava are typically round or oval in shape. So like this is not totally round, but it's kind of round in shape. The nutritional features is that they contain antioxidants like flavonoids, phenolic compounds, and all that. They also contain vitamin C and they are source of fiber. Then biological features about their growth is that guava trees are evergreen and can grow in varieties of condition. So they reproduce and they produce flower. So then medicinal features of them is that they use them for traditional medicinal purpose and all that. So that is for specimen M. So let's go to N, which is tuber of Irish potato. So they call that Solanum tuberosum. So they have uh, features like tubal structure, is underground stem, and serve as storage organ. So the skin, which we call the periderm, protects the tuber from water loss and pathogens. Then we have the nutritional features. They are source of carbohydrates, vitamins, and mineral. The growth, the tuber grow underground and it absorbs nutrients and water from the soil. Then sprouting, the tuber can sprout new growth when conditions are favorable. So which means they could sprout, they could come out, after harvesting they could come out again if the condition is favorable. So then that's it. We move to the next one, tuber of sweet potato. You might also be told to establish the difference between sweet potato and Irish potato, but let's quickly discuss for the sweet potato first. So now sweet potato is called Ipomoea batatas. Let me spell it, Ipomoea, then Batatas. So the physical features is they have a tuber structure. The structure is containing starchy substances. Yeah. So the skin, they have variety of color, and you can see from the picture here you can have some white, some kind of brownish red. So then the flesh can be orange or yellow. That's the inside. So the nutritional features is rich in vitamin, minerals, and antioxidants. Then the biological features of the growth is that they also grow on the ground, absorbing nutrients from the soil, and they can sprout as well. Then other features is for food security, and all that. So what's the difference between Irish and sweet potato? You see, Irish potato and sweet potato are two distinct types of root vegetables. So because you can establish their difference from the appearance. Pay from the appearance, you could get the difference. You can see this one is kind of round. This one appears like elongated structure. Then like for Irish potato now, they have a thin smooth skin that can be brown, red, or yellow. That's for Irish potato. Then sweet potato have a thick skin that can range in color from orange, yellow, red, or purple. Then the taste and texture. In this practical, you might not be told to taste any one of it, so the taste might not be one of the features they might ask you. So the botanical difference is that tuber of Irish potato grow on roots of the plant, but sweet potato storage roots that grow underground are part of the plant. They are part of the plant root system. But for Irish, tuber grow on the root of the plant. Can you see the difference? So for sweet potato, they are part of the root system. Meanwhile, for Irish potato, they grow on the root. So those are the selective features we can see here. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. Endeavor to share the video. Thank you.